Do you guys think that Congress should raise cafe standards?
Depends on the cafe.
Depends on the cafe?
How do you feel about raising cafe standards?
Raising cafe standards? I think anytime we can raise a standard, that's a good thing.
Do you think that Congress should raise cafe standards?
Fair trade coffee would be nice.
Cleanliness in the bathrooms, for one.
As long as the food is good, the environment is good, and I don't see any red tape or anything across the door, then that's doing pretty good.
You know, you can go in some of the nicest restaurants and the bathroom is just filthy.
No smoking.
No smoking in cafes?
Yeah.
Standardized Wi-Fi would be nice.
It seems like they just neglect that. Or somebody just don't want to do the job, you know.
Other than that, pretty good?
Pretty good. Can't really enforce better coffee.
That's one of my pet peeves on that.
CAFE actually stands for Corporate Average Fuel Economy.
It would mean that auto companies in America have to make cars that would get better gas mileage.
It's nothing to do with restaurants at all.
It doesn't, actually.
They're thinking about raising it to 35 miles per gallon.
What do you think about raising cafe standards if it has to do with carbon emissions from vehicles?
I think it would be brilliant.
Do you think that we should raise those or lower those in Congress?
Well, I think we should definitely raise those.
So you think they should raise them?
Yeah, I think that would be a good stopgap.
At school, we learned that when the oil gets into the air, it's polluting our air.
Already the glaciers are melting rapidly.
I think a better way to do it would be to look at alternative fuel sources, and ethanol isn't the way to do it.
Do you think that Congress should raise cafe standards?
I do. There's two arguments. Raise cafe standards, yes, I agree with that. Raise the price of gas, yeah, do that too. We need to get our fossil fuels priced to the point where all these other alternatives become no-brainers.
Do you think that they should raise cafe standards?
You know, I don't know in the sense of cafe standards of how they actually should do that. I think one important thing to think about fuel for the country and for the industry and for people is what is the correct behavior, you know, for purchasers and individuals. What are the choices that people want to make individually? And I think that will influence the market.
I was actually just asking about the standards in cafes, like coffee standards and stuff like that. Any thoughts on like decaf versus caffeinated and how clean cafes should be?
I just like regular coffee.
Regular coffee?
I come from Minnesota, just regular coffee. Man.
Just straight black?
Straight black.
Straight black, okay. Why do you think the car companies are dragging their feet on the cafe standards? They want to allow us freedom of choice and they want the consumers to dictate what happens, but isn't it a little bit like if they build it, we will come?
I'll tell you two things that are both good. First is raise the price of gasoline. Get it up to about $5 a gallon, takes that tax money and repair our infrastructure. That'll start pushing people into that freedom of choice that they want. And the second thing is, instead of having speed limits, let's have momentum limits. Because really it's all about how much damage you can do. So if you're in a big SUV, you're way more dangerous at 50 miles an hour than I am in my Prius. Let's say if you want to drive the big vehicle, you just can't drive them as fast. And that'll get some choices made. Over here is our Sun Dragon. It's a solar energy exhibit trying to teach people that we can use solar energy to displace fossil fuels for lots of different jobs, in this case, for heating a swimming pool.
Wow, it's really warm.
You guys have a living roof, and this is a new building. You guys are not just having a living roof, you also are going for LEED certification.
That's right. So we're hoping for silver. This is our current space right here, which was a renovation project from an old bus terminal. We turned it into a ballet studio and offices and everything. And then this is our addition that we're adding on, and that's what we'll be touring through.
This is the old Rouge Factory that's now the new Rouge Factory, the largest manufacturing site in the world. Bill Ford has looked at this and said, you know, this has always been the leader. Let's continue being the leader in the 20th century. So we have the largest living roof in the world here, 10.4 acres of sedum.
It's a great sound barrier, that green roof. It's exciting for us to have it there. And the kind of plant sedum is very hardy. We'll water it once a month.
Oh, cool.
And that's it. It's not going to be harmed by the weather like a regular roof would. It's not going to have this ice build up. That kind of stuff's not going to happen with our sedum roof here.
So we would normally be heating this with natural gas, but we've got solar collectors on the roof of that building at the end of the tail of the Dragon that's using sunshine to heat our pool water. We actually have 3 big pools like this in the city, and all of them are heated with solar energy, even here in Michigan.
The whole idea is that having a living roof reduces your cost. So it lowers the temperature of the assembly plant by 10 degrees, but also saves money for the company too and the environment. It's reversing the carbon issues. It's lowering carbon into the environment but increasing oxygen. Rainwater is held by the sedum plant structure, and then it goes into the plant for gray water, or in excess would go off the plant around it into swales. And the swales are basically other plants that are in the ground that hold the water and move it slowly down into the river format, creating a new watershed. The idea here is taking the water, using it, putting it back in the environment, cleaning it through its natural elements, putting it in the watershed cleaner than it came out.
1 point for LEED certification could be the strangest type thing. You get a point for the bike racks and a point for the green roof.
Yeah.
You would think the green roof would be more points, but it's not.
We have a challenge in Ann Arbor. Our city government, who I work for, we need to be 30% renewable energy across all our operations by 2010. Wow. So our fleet runs on biodiesel, we have solar energy, we have hydroelectric dams, we have landfill gas capture systems. I drove an electric car to get here today.
We have a porous paving parking lot, which is a technology which allows the water to go through the actual pavement very slowly into a substructure of rocks that hold the water too, and move it into a swale format too, rather than just total runoff into a sewer cap, down and out.
We like to think we're one of the leaders in the country in being environmental, and certainly on the energy side and recycling side we are.
For us, it's the right thing to do. I wouldn't say specifically our own green roof, but as environmentally conscious as our city and this part of our state is, I think that's one more thing to attract dancers here, to come here and live. You know, we're about art and keeping things beautiful, and every time you can protect the environment, that's what you're doing.
And so that's a better investment in the long run for Ford and for our environment. And that was really what's going on here, is new principles for industry.
How's the weather up there?
It's warm.
Who do you think would want to kill the electric car?
Hitler?
Did you know, though, that there are no more Wolverines left in Michigan?
What do they eat? Other little stuff, animals?
We'll call you.
Okay.
Don't call us.
You'll call us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Dude.
Yeah.